What's up, y'all? It's Carla, aka Sela the Poet. Happy International Women's Day to all the women and girls around the world. It's a day for us to reflect and rally together on women's accomplishments, as well as getting together to demand equal rights and equal justice, to enforce, exercise, and enjoy civil rights for women. Today, I'm going to discuss some of the reasons why I became a feminist. Okay, so feminism has four main factors. There are probably more, but these are the main ones. Number one, to achieve or increase equality. Okay, number two, to expand human choice. Number three, to eliminate gender stratification. And number four, to end sexual violence and promote freedom and opportunity for all genders beyond stereotypical roles. So, those are four of the main reasons why I decided to become a feminist. I am a domestic violence survivor, and that also plays into the reason why I decided to become a feminist. When you are raised in a household and a system of violence where you have no voice and you are threatened with violence, your life is threatened, and you're basically being held down or whatever, you're basically, you don't have the same freedoms and opportunities as other people, or you're not being treated the same as other relatives, then that's going to it's going to make either rebellion or resistance arise in you as a person because you want to be treated equally. So it's kind of the same thing for women. We live in a patriarchal, male dominated society, and we have to basically fight for our rights, just to be able to live and exist here. Okay? So, International Women's Day supposedly started as a day that commemorated a 1917 strike where Russian women demanded bread and peace. I looked up how it started, and that was one of the reasons given for the holiday. So I'm going to give you some statistics, okay, that I looked up for International Women's Day. No country has achieved complete legal equality. Women hold only 64% of the rights that men have globally. Let that sink in, okay? As of early 2026, 83.7 million women aged 16 and older were in the U.S. civilian labor force, okay? So there are many women that are working, but all of those women do not have access to the same civil rights. Okay? Globally, a woman or a girl is unalived every 10 minutes by a family member or a partner. Let that sink in. 60% of people surveyed agreed that things would work better if more women held positions of power in government and companies. Okay? So 60% is an improvement, but 40% is still a major amount of people that don't agree that women should have access or opportunity to have access to power. Okay? So, yes. So, International Women's Day. I'm going to also talk about some other factors of the reason why I am a feminist. So, feminism, or should I say feminist, a lot of them also have they fight for reproductive rights, okay? In the 1950s, Puerto Rican women were forced into sterilization. There was a law called Law 116, which allowed for legal sterilization used as birth control in Puerto Rico. Okay? So this was mainly fueled by eugenics, which is a form of scientific racism, which has to do with white supremacy, believing that white people are above, other races of people, and any other race of people is basically inferior. And so you should basically not breed people that are non-white. It's either you're not going to breed them or you're going to purposefully mix with them to drown out the mongrel bloodline. And these ideas are very racist, but these were some of the ideas behind Law 116. Okay? FDR, which was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, championed sterilization on the island as a solution to the island's problems of overpopulation, unemployment, disease, and poverty. Okay? Some of these procedures were performed without full informed consent. Some women were tricked into getting these sterilizations. Okay? And Margaret Sanger, who is one of the leaders of Planned Parenthood, was also testing a contraception pill on Puerto Rican women, and it caused side effects for them like blood clots, nausea. And this is not something that's it's not highly promoted or discussed in the news, but this is history. And that history, they don't report on it when they should. Okay, so women are not even being allowed to have reproductive rights. And these were basically, human rights abuses. Okay, so Dr. Helen Rodriguez formed the CESA, which is the Committee to End Sterilization Abuse. And so she began, being an activist and fighting against this type of the things that were going on the island. So that is, a main right for women to have bodily autonomy, reproductive rights. And basically women had to fight to maintain those. Okay? Let's also talk about child marriage. So 1 in 5 girls are married before the age of 18. 12 million girls marry before the age of 18. 650 million women alive today were married as kids. Okay? In countries like Pakistan, forced marriages are common for girls under the age of 15. Okay? Countries like Niger, Chad, Mali, Bangladesh, Guinea, Central African Republic, Mozambique, and Nepal are countries where child marriage is high. Okay? Many countries allow exceptions to the minimum age of 18, okay, for girls with parental and judicial consent. All right? In Albania, Bulgaria, and Macedonia, and Ukraine, girls in the Romani community marry below the legal age. Okay? So, child marriage, meaning that a girl who is underage can marry a grown man. Okay, a grown man can ask permission of the parents of a underage girl to marry them. And in certain countries and certain vicinities, they will give the permission, and even if the girl does not want to get married, they will marry them off. And in a lot of these marriages, there is rape, there is abuse, and there is the girl or may end up living in poverty. If the husband decides to leave her or divorce her, she may end up being in poverty, because in some countries, some girls are not allowed access to education. So this is a pretty serious thing. I have heard in some places in Asia where, a 6-year-old can be married off to a 42-year-old and stuff like that. And what surprised me was it's also allowed here in the US in certain states. The bill to end child marriage in New York was just signed in January 2021. according to Julia Salazar, who was a senator. And in the bill, she's requesting that the consent age for the girl to be married is age 18. So these are serious things. These are serious things to consider, okay? Child marriage, okay? Reproductive rights. Let's also talk about child prostitution, okay? In Brazil, there are 250,000 to 50,000 child prostitutes. Asia, which is a main hotbed center of child prostitution, there are 60,000 child prostitutes in Philippines, 400,000 in India, 800,000 in Thailand, and in Sri Lanka, child prostitute boys, 200,000 to 30,000. And most of these sex workers are under the age of 16. Okay? A lot of these child sex workers do so for economic need because they are usually living in widespread rural poverty. Just for them to be able to get food and basics, they have to go out there and they have to sell their bodies. Okay? Foreign travelers, okay, passport bros, people like that go and search for sex. And they go to these young prostitutes that end up being in demand due to the myth that youngsters are relatively virgin and clean of infections and STDs. So this is a well-known, kept, they don't highly publicize this. Only since the Me Too movement have we begun the discussion of child trafficking. Okay? If you would like to see more about that type of thing and you want to be more informed, there are documentaries. Born into Brothels, which discusses child prostitution in Calcutta in India. It was filmed in 2004. And there's also Child Brides. Okay, that's another documentary. And Sex Trafficking in America, 2019, by Jeza Numan. Those are some documentaries that you can find out more about the child prostitution. Okay. FGM, female genital mutilization, is a problem. It affects 230 million girls, women globally. It is a violation of human rights, and it mainly happens in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. It is the removal of the external female genitalia, the labia, for non-medical reasons. And some of these women end up having being damaged and having painful sexual experiences as a result. Okay, so these are just some of the reasons why I have become a feminist and stand hardcore for women's rights. There's so many human rights violations and systematic abuses that I need to take a stand against it. So that's all I'm going to say for now. Stay tuned for part 2. Peace.